Hey, this is Erik with Sunland Guitars, back again for another video, and this time we're going to go over on how to turn one of these oftentimes referred to as crappy Epiphone Les Paul Juniors into their best versions that they can be, because I know a lot of people out there are on a budget, but they want to turn this kind of chunk of wood into something special. And just like my client wants to do with this one, I gave him some advice and had him do some research. He picked out some things that are really going to take this to the next level and might have some good ideas for you too if you've got one of these at home or you've been looking at buying one of these. So let's get into it. Alright, so first thing I want to talk about is probably the worst thing on this guitar is the nut. This is a plastic nut. The only reason why I really don't like plastic nuts are because they get dried out and they get brittle, especially when you're playing outside, and then they'll just crack and disintegrate. But also plastic is probably the softest thing that can be used as a nut, or even a saddle if you've got an acoustic guitar with a plastic saddle. You're going to want to upgrade this to either a bone or a tusk or some sort of something like it. So my client went with a Tusk XL, and these are great. They fit right into most Epiphones and Gibsons, and you probably have to do a little filing in the nut slots to make sure that they're the right size for your string and the right height here at the nut. Which I have plenty of videos on how to go over or how to do that, so check that out. The second thing that I really don't like about these guitars are the tuners. So you're probably going to want to upgrade those because it is very important for a guitar to stay in tune. It is super frustrating when it's not, and these tuners are probably some of the crappiest tuners on the market. So you will want to upgrade these. The bad thing is that it's hard to find direct replacements for these with the screw holes at the top and the bottom at these angles like this. So just go ahead and get whatever decent ones that you can afford. My customer wants to go gold on these, so as you can see, it's got one screw there right at the direct bottom, and I'm gonna have to fill in these holes, and that's something that he wanted to do. But you can just take some toothpicks and some wood glue and shove them down in there, cut them down flush, and even take some kind of black paint pen or a little dab of black paint, or even a Sharpie if you want to go that route, just to smooth it over a little bit and hide those holes. Yep, so we're going Grovers, which I always recommend. The next thing I want to talk about is the fretboard. So these are notorious for having sharp fret ends here. If you just rub your fingers along here, you'll feel them catch and kind of scrape your fingers. So what you're going to need, what I recommend, is this great little file by StewMac. StewMac 1602 is the number here, and it's a triangle file, but the points or the edges on here are smooth. So you can go right on the wood and it doesn't cause any problems, but you can get in there and curve these fret ends over and get rid of those little nubs that are scratching your fingers like that. And you just kind of go back and forth like that until you get there. This is a very common tool that I use on a lot of guitars. So if you're buying a lot of guitars or you're working on a lot of guitars, this is definitely a tool that you're going to use a lot of times. From StewMac, of course, it's a little expensive, but I've had this thing for over 10 years, so these things last. And the last two things I want to go over is the bridge and the pickup. So I love wrap tail bridges, and I love just one bridge pickup. They're my favorite guitars, and I technically prefer just one volume. I don't even care to have a tone. But if you're going this route, I definitely recommend upgrading the bridge. These little grooves here are not great. They're not precise for intonation, so it's super frustrating as especially a beginner guitarist when your guitar doesn't sound the way it's supposed to, and a lot of time that's because your guitar isn't properly intonated. So I mean, if you can't upgrade this yet, you can use these screws, screw it in to pull it back, and you can really only angle it two ways. Preferably, we want to be able to intonate each string individually, right? So I recommend getting a wrap tail like this. This one's a really nice one, but as you can see, it has the 6 individual intonation screws right here in the front, and individual saddles so that you can adjust the intonation properly. Just like a regular Les Paul or with a tunematic bridge, you can only adjust the heights on the side, but that's common, so their radius to the fretboard as properly as it should. So something else to look out for if you're going to upgrade these. This one does come with gold posts that I'll be putting in there as well. And I'll do a little video demonstration on how to properly remove these and to make sure that the new ones go in there properly. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the pickup. So the pickup's okay, it's not great. I always recommend upgrading Epiphone pickups and technically the pots, but my customer didn't want to get into the pots just yet, so we're just going to upgrade the pickup. So today we're going with a JB Seymour Duncan. This is a great all-around pickup, goes everywhere from blues up to rock, and I mean you can play metal on it too, but nice gold cover on there as well. It's going to look really, really nice by the time we're all finished.